Makiati, Ebetuaste, Shakion Duzamhonia in Makiati. Makion Pontiwahe, Manishta, Ikanam Ohipi. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessa Rae Growing Thunder. The Growing Thunder family comes from the region of Chelsea, Montana, which is located on the Fort Peck Reservation in the northeast corner of Montana. We are Assiniboine and Sioux, so we come from the Dakota Assiniboine people and the Dakota Sioux people. We're very happy to be here today. We've been looking forward to this for months, so thank you for coming and joining us. Just to kind of give a little background on our family and kind of our history of where our people come from. Like I mentioned, the Fort Peck Reservation is the northeast corner of Montana. So we're way up there next to the Canadian border and the North Dakota border. So the establishment of Fort Peck Reservation is a very unique history. We were kind of the last hostiles of the Northern Plains. So there were several different bands of Sioux along with the Dakota Assiniboine bands. And we were kind of located in this region, and during the Fort Peck establishment, many of the bands were fleeing to Canada because they were fighting the government, the U.S. government. And so many of them kind of got humanities, and so that's kind of a unique history. To go back and, we read our history, and, they called us the last hostiles of the Northern Plains, and, all these great chiefs that come from our reservation. Where we're from in Chelsea, Montana, Chief Sitting Bull actually spent a lot of time with us. His way to Canada and from Canada when he was fighting with the U.S. government. His last Sundance was actually just a few miles away from where my family is from. So we have a lot of great history with our people. And I wanted to share that because, coming here today talking about our work and my grandmother's legacy, I mean, that's an important part of who we are. And every piece that we make, that reflects that history. These pieces, every piece has its own spirit, its own being. And every spirit has its own history. And so each piece that we do, we're helping create that spirit, but we're also carrying on that history with it. And so each piece really represents us and our people. And so I want to kind of share a little bit of background on where our reservation comes from. This is my mother Juanita, and this is my grandmother Joyce. I'm the oldest grandchild. I'm a grandma's girl. I've been very fortunate to have such an amazing family. My grandmother Joyce, she's full-blooded Assiniboine and Sioux from Fort Peck. She grew up on the reservation. My grandmother's very young, but she grew up in a very blessed time where, we didn't have running cars. No one had cars. Everyone had horse and wagons. She grew up in a one-bedroom log cabin with dirt floors, no running water, no electricity. She grew up in a very warm family. Everyone was very close. She grew up with her grandparents. She grew up with all her siblings. It was a very tight family. And a big part of that is this beadwork, this quilt. These things she grew up with. She has stories about, in that one-bedroom log cabin, one room, they had a bed in there, and all the grandmas would lay out a buckskin top, and they'd sit at different ends and beat on it together with a lantern to see. It's those types of histories that are a part of her blood. That's how she grew up. That's her identity. That's her grandmother's identity and their grandmother's identity. And so that was a very blessed experience that, that's just my grandma. That's just a few generations behind me. So I'm very blessed as a young person because then my grandmother passed on to my mother. And my mother passed it on to myself. And all my cousins and my little sister back there. That's something very beautiful and very unique. Right now, currently, we don't live on the reservation. My mother and my grandmother, they live in Northern California, up by Lake Tahoe area. Beautiful area. And one thing that I've come to really admire about this work and the things that they do is, we're not home. We're not, on the reservation, every day, all year long. We go home when we can. But one of the things that's really beautiful about doing these things in this way of life is they help connect you. There's still a connection there with that identity and what it means to be an Assiniboine and Sioux woman. And it's really beautiful that you can take these with you everywhere. You can do these things everywhere you are. So I think that's really beautiful. I'm very fortunate for these beautiful women. It's a little, excuse me for my moment. We kind of want to keep things very, a little informal. So we'll kind of be stopping throughout our discussion here, asking people if they have any questions. Please feel free to ask us anything. We're really happy to be here. We love being able to have talks with people and being able to share with them, our process and, different stories about different pieces. It's a beautiful thing that, we wish we could do more. So we're very happy to be here. We're very happy that Rachel asked us to come here. Let me refer back to my notes. I'm a graduate student, I forgot this. So this is, it's always funny to me when people, I tell people, this is all year round thing. This is every single day. My mother and my grandmother feed and they quill and they do these things. This is how I grew up. I grew up every single day. My mom and my grandma are the same household. They wake up before the sun rises. They get up, they start working. They work all day long until dinner time. We share a meal for dinner, and they do the same thing every day. They don't really take vacations. They don't, they do this every single day. And that's how I grew up. I remember being a kid and I thought this was normal. I thought this is what people did. I was 6 years old when I discovered that's not what people do every day. That's something unique. I was 6 years old and I went to my friend's house to spend the night, and I understood that I was a Native American and my friend wasn't. But I couldn't understand why her mom wasn't beating. It's really great to be here at the Coe Foundation. Ted was family to us. You guys kind of heard Bruce and my grandma talking about, when we first met. What year was that? 82?
Yeah, no, it was 45.
It was 82, I think. Yeah. Ted was family to us. He was, it's always hard to, the past few months, with this great exhibit going on at the Wheel right now, we've kind of been talking amongst ourselves, well, how do we put into words what Ted really meant to us and to the fields of traditional playing art? And I don't think we've ever really come to a conclusion about how to put it into words. Ted had this amazing ability to be the force behind it. It wasn't just that, we see these things in museums and it's a part of the past. Ted had this ability to make people understand that it's not the past. It's the present also. That this is still being carried on. And to draw attention to that, that was remarkable. He changed things. He definitely changed things for our family, for other families, to be able to do this every day and to be able to educate people and show people that this is now. That's an amazing thing. So Ted was a great guy. I know for myself, I was really fortunate that, like I said, Ted was a part of our family. I grew up knowing Ted, and I grew up going to his house every year and hanging out with all these pieces in his house. And he always I remember always being observant of the way he talked to people about the pieces he owned, the pieces that he was willing to show people, you know, that he took the time to know these things, to respect them, to know how they were made, to know the construction of story, of history. And that to me is just, that's great. To have somebody in the field do that, that was an amazing thing. And I think that legacy has really contributed to what traditional things art is now today. So, you want to say anything about that?
Just that by him calling attention to it and calling attention to the makers of the artwork was really important. It was no longer a lost art. It wasn't, no one was doing it. He called attention to the people that were contributing and making things still to this day. And that's something that no one was doing. And it was the forefront of that. And he was happy to share what he knew with everyone. And that was his enthusiasm for the artwork was just amazing, and it drew everyone in. And, you know, you really found out how spectacular pieces were by him explaining to you where he found it and how they made it and how they got their supplies. He was interested. And that was really special and amazing about it.
My grandma's quiet. They like me to do the talking. But my grandma is one of the most humble people you would ever meet in your life. Many people that meet her, they would never guess that this is what she does. So I always enjoy talking for my grandmother because it gives me the chance to tell people what an amazing woman my grandmother is. Rachel and I had a really great conversation yesterday that I really wanted to bring up today. We were talking about Ted and you know how he approached the field and how he approached these pieces, and he had this way of describing. I guess you could say he described it as, or he approached these pieces as, you know, it's like having one foot in the past, where you're holding on to these traditions, you're respecting these traditions, you're honoring them, you're continuing them, but you also have one foot in the present because we are contemporary people. We're modern, we're evolving, but we're still holding on to it. So it's a great balance. And I thought that was a really neat point to bring up, and I kind of wanted to ask both my mom and grandmother how they feel like that's applying into their work.
Yeah, well, we have to live in the modern world. And now my mother has an iPad, so now she feeds and checks her Facebook. and so you have to evolve and be progressive and stuff, but to us it's a very important thing to hold on to our culture and hold on to our traditional beliefs and ways. And but you have to live in the modern world, so it's we do have one foot in the past and one foot in the present. And it's
You live in a big in the Indian world too, the dance and everything.
yeah, we try to keep up with our traditional ways. All of my family, we all participate in dancing. We all are powwow people and still travel the country and dance and take part in those ways. And also my daughter is a sun dancer, and so we believe in our religious ways too. So yeah, she's a grad student too. So it finds up with one foot in the future and one foot in the past.
And Jesse, you brought up the modern part, the contemporary part. I'm curious how the work has changed. I mean, we have a Daryl's shirt in the exhibition at the Wheelwright. Now, I can see this one's quite different, more elaborate, but does it have anything to do with being more contemporary?
Well, I know for me personally, and this kind of goes back to, what a big influence Ted was on my young life, is he was always encouraging, me as a young artist. I mean, I started baby when I was 3 years old. I picked up my first needle thread. And, I started entering things at Indian Market by the time I was, 6? And so I remember him always encouraging me that, you always have to be evolving. I mean, this goes back to, our ancestors. All these older pieces, they all evolved also. The people that did them, they continuously evolved. But it's also continuing that balance of, making sure it's still traditional, but evolving as an artist and evolving your materials and your production and the mechanics of things. So it's pretty neat. And Grandma, do you have anything to say about maybe how different the shirt is from the other shirt, Daryl's shirt? Do you feel like you've evolved?
You mean that the other one sold the head or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this one is different. This represents a grizzly bear. And it just came out like it's supposed to. I just have this drive to do things. And the other day I was just about ready to give up. I was so tired. And I had my little niece, my other little granddaughter, she's 8, she was helping me. I think it's different. It's a lot different from the other ones.
I think it's an important thing to mention that, going back to this knowing that, every piece has its own spirit, it's its own beat. And when we're working, I've always been taught from these two women that, you don't fight with anything. Most of the time we dream these things. Most of the time these things come to us in dreams and tell us they want to be made. And so, I've always been taught that, you have to go with what that piece wants. And I think that's what really helps these things evolve.
Pieces and things we've done before, but everything is new, and it's we do let it go and flow by itself, and we know somewhat what it's going to look like. I'm not a graphic artist. I can't sit and draw what I think I'm going to have. I may sketch something out or something, but I pretty much know what it's going to look like in the end. But if there's changes in it because the materials won't allow for it, or because we're using all natural materials, everything we use is coming from the animal mostly, and there's variations in heights and things like that, and it just may not come out exactly like I want, but it'll come out similar, right? So this is the bag I just created. I finished it yesterday morning. Got up at 2 a.m. Our flight was at 11. We're an hour and a half from the airport. It's all porcupine quill work, and all of the materials on it are traditional materials, smoked hides. That's what you smell. Smells like bacon sometimes. So it's like moose hide, deer hide, ermine. I do use antique beads, which are over 100 years old. The brass bindings that I have on there are new, but they're similar to what you would have found back, 100 years ago or so. Some of the inspirations I drew for the bag were, I do these clothes bags, and I call them medicine bags, but I've never done the twisty fringe. And I had admired my dear friend Maynard Labrador, and he does the twisted fringe. And I thought, well, I guess I could do something like that, because his work's so beautiful and I admire it, so I do a little inspiration from him. And I've not done a floral with a filled-in background before, and that was really time-consuming. It's all porcupine clover, and it starts out, I get the porcupine. We usually get roadkills. People will bring them to me, or if I'm lucky, I see one. And I actually packed, Jessa went on to Montana this summer, and she had one. So we have like a little, you have paper bags, rubber gloves, a trash bag, and you just pull over on the side of the road and get the clothes off of them. And that's how it starts. And then you wash and sort and dye these clothes, and it's very time-consuming. It's from the start of an idea, and we make this happen. It was a lot of work, and excuse me for losing my thoughts and stuff, but we've been working tremendous hours for the past 3 months, and we still have some work to do and things. Indian Market is our biggest drive we have, and we love it. It's like it gives us an extra push to get these pieces done. We work nonstop year-round on things, but to have that extra stretch at the end, I think really does us a lot of good every year. And it really gives us a feeling of fulfillment that we finished it again. This is our 30th year at Indian Market. We're just happy to do that. We made it again.
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you dye the clothes with?
So I use some synthetic dyes and some natural dyes. I would like to use, that's going to be my new thing, I want to try to use all natural dyes. But just for, it's handy to have the synthetic dyes, and they're more vivid and bright. And for what I was looking for, that's what I needed to use. So some of the natural dyes that you would use would be roots, grasses, moss. You can get a really good yellow bright from a wolf moss. Berries. I've actually used oak leaves to dye a little bit. They're really a dark color. Blackberries, we use those.
And the light pine trees.
Yeah, the moss. Yeah.
What use is that?
Oh, for the wool?
Yes.
That wool actually was dyed and it came like that. That's a real traditional type of wool. You'll notice the white edging on it is a Stroud wool. That you would have found that. So, yeah. So we really try to look for the best materials and try to use the best of what we can find to use in our work.
Can you tell us a little history about the bag that you made, sort of the journey you've made through history?
Oh, this bag?
Speaking about the, 1 foot in the past and now.
Yeah, so, well, really, I knew I wanted to make a traditional bag, and it's, because I kind of like, this is my thing, I like to make these. I thought I wanted to do a floral one, and this year, for some reason, we've had a lot of calling for this bear stuff, so like I really wanted to do these bear paws on here. And
We even had a big bear in our yard.
yeah, we had a bear this summer. Yeah, so we kind of really pay attention to what we're dreaming, what we're feeling about, and go with it. And that's always been part of what my mother taught me, is that pay attention and you listen. So if you feel like it's going to go that way, or you really want it to go that way, you got to organically just go with it, right? So this bag looks very traditional, but there's, like I say, the non-traditional things on it, like the twisted fringe. I don't think I've seen on these types of bags. They may have done it. they've done everything. But I personally haven't seen one like this. So that was my own interpretation that I would like to put on it. And, but everything else, I really try to like stick with traditional type. So I know the style of the bag. I know this is an Assiniboine style. And so if you were to date this bag, you probably could date it the late 1800s, early 1900s. It's the same materials they would have used.
And traditionally, what would the bag have been used
It
for?
would have been used for, to carry medicines for healing or ceremonies and stuff like that.
And as
So it
it-
would have been made special for something like that.
And as it's transitioned through time, I suppose it became more and more of an art piece as we have here today. Is that?
Yeah, so it doesn't hold any powers or.
But they're still being made today for that, I would assume.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it was just my interpretation of a medicine bag.
And your daughter's bag.
Oh, so my youngest daughter is 12, and this is her piece that she made for Indian Restaurant here.
So that's part of it.
It's part flesh, but it's on a found purse that she found, and it had these little wooden squares on it, so she made the part flesh and attached them to the thing, to the square pieces. She's 12, and she's quite a good artist. And this is Spotted Tail. Yeah. Yeah. So we encourage them, the nieces and nephews that come stay with us, we encourage them and help them lay things out and work on their pieces and help them along as we did with you.
And the inspiration for this bag, how did she come by it? Is it
She's very shy. So her name is Cameron, and so I was doing some part flesh earrings and such, and so she likes to draw like cartoon style, and she's fantastic. And so we kept thinking, well, what are you going to do for market? And she says, I don't know, I like to draw. So I said, okay, well, what if we try to make something part flesh? And then we had found this purse, right? So we kind of talked about it together and stuff. So it was something that she enjoyed doing, and something that she could put herself into. I don't think she can bead and she can do things, but she's not really, it's not for her. It's not what she's interested in. She's more interested in drawing and painting and things like that. So we're trying to encourage her to go with what she feels she would like to do.
It'll be fun to see where she does go with that.
Yeah. She's got amazing talent.
Can you tell us more about the shirt?
Yeah, I just
The last time she did a shirt,
was,
1999.
and I didn't even think about how much work it was going to be. I just started.
And that's why you didn't do another one until now?
I worked on it about every day, spring, till now. Just got it finished the other day.
Yeah,
Because that's constantly working 12 to 16 hours a day.
Wow.
It came out, I'm still looking at it because it's very nice. It seems like I've been so busy, I just haven't had time to sit down.
And how do you know when the piece is finished? Does it tell you that I'm done now, or?
oh no, we can keep working on
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
But I think that's probably why Indian market is good for us, because we have to quit.
You have deadline.
So we have to stop. Because otherwise, I think we probably could just keep doing more things. So this would be cool if we did this. But because we have a time limit, that's probably good for us. Yeah.
Can anyone in your culture do co-work and that kind of thing, or do you have to be sort of asked or called to do that?
Traditionally, it was, not everyone could just do it. It was a part of a society, and so it was a calling. And so these women would get these dreams where the devil would come and take them, and they would be given this gift. And so it was a society thing. Not every woman was called to it, but everyone respected that. And it's really, it's been really neat to see kind of this revival of it. I feel like the past several years it's been coming around more and more, which is really great. I've been really fortunate that both my mother and my grandmother both have that calling in life. And I'm getting there. I've had my dreams, I'm just waiting for that right moment to show it publicly. But yeah, it was traditionally a society thing, but I think with, talking about being modern people, I think there's been this push recently. People are getting really innovative with it, and it's been really beautiful to see.
And it's not only women's work at this point, is it? I mean, men are starting to do this
Yeah,
too?
men are starting to do it now, which is great. It's really great to see.
Yeah. So we still try to live our life by the society level, that we try to live live our life in a good way. And when we work with clothes and stuff, we try to think good thoughts, and you pray a lot. It's sort of, I do it out of respect for the people in the past that did that and had the societies, and you just really try to be a good person with it. And I think of it as a blessing that it was given to me, the ability to be able to do it, and and it sustains my life, and it sustains me being able to raise my children and have my kid in grad school. And, and I try to treat it with great respect still, and try to remember the people in the past that did it. And they wouldn't let just anyone do full work. They really had to be a respectable person to do that. So,
Well, traditionally, everyone kind of had their own roles in the community. And, when she talks about, these women that belong in that society, they had to uphold a certain way of life. That was a part of their commitment to themselves and to the community and to this gift. And I think I've been really fortunate that this family, that they really uphold those responsibilities with each gift that each one carries on. My whole family, we're all artists. I have uncles that bead and draw. I have aunties that do the same thing. My little sister, she does the same thing. And baby cousins, we all do it, and everyone has their own gift. They bring their own thing to the family. And we've been really fortunate that everyone seems to really uphold their responsibilities with that. When you have these gifts, you have to, they call it, walking on the Chonkalu path, the road where you live a good life. You stay in a humble way. You respect others, you honor your family. You don't talk down on people. You be good to everyone. You treat everyone as if they were family. And so I think that's what helps us be so fortunate to be able to carry these things on, is that we respect that way of life. And I think that's a beautiful thing to uphold when we talk about, keeping one foot forward and one foot back. It's maintaining that balance. I think that respect helps keep that balance.
What are you studying in graduate school?
Take a guess. I'm working on my master's at UC Davis in California on Native American Studies. And so right now my master's thesis is actually doing oral history work on my grandmother. And so yeah, it's been really great. I'm kind of decentering our tribal history. You know, the typical tribal history you hear, the last hostiles, and then it goes on to, all the legislation that, helped establish us and all these policies and everything, but you don't really hear the history from the community perspective. And so this little history work with my grandmother is kind of giving the perspective of, well, what does it mean to be an Assiniboine to women? What does that mean? And so eventually, it'll be the step to how to carry on oral history work. So that's my life right now. Yeah, so I'm going on my second year, so I'm finishing up.
I'd like to ask something, Joyce. When you meet for the first time, Dad, you really know that he was famous or not really know? And you already that he was famous because of the exhibited cemetery, or you didn't know nothing about it.
I don't think you knew it was famous.
You are deep into something so confident.
Can you repeat the question?
I heard about his show when we were in Denver visiting a friend. And they were all going to go over there, but we were on our way to Auckland, Canada. That's the first time I heard of him. And then I met him in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
But did you know when you met him that that's who that was?
No. No, I didn't. He was just extra friendly. I just noticed him. Took notice, I guess, because he was friendly. I just do what I do.
Well, I think Ted was impressed with my mother because all throughout her young life, she dressed traditionally and she wore long braids and she wore her Indian clothes all the time. And I think that was something to see for most people.
Just couldn't wait to see what I do. So maybe that, a lot of that just brought the
You know, Louise talking about the book, Lost and Found in Tunisia.
Did he?
Yeah, if you start to be on radio, you already know that they write a book.
He was in the process at that time. I think he was buying a beaded basket from the main trail galleries from Dick Flood, and that's what he was there for. He went to go view that basket and buy that basket. She didn't know who he was, and I didn't put it together because you had seen, everyone was talking about the sacred circles years before, but she didn't realize that that was the same person when she met him. So after Dick Flood had told him about her beadwork and stuff, then he wanted to see some of her work. And she had a beaded purse that she carried around with her everywhere. It had an American Eagle flag and flowers and stuff. It's quite famous.
So you did tell him what happened with the pictures?
Oh, you want me to say just? She feels like Ted is still with her all the time.
Oh, look at that.
Yes. So she still feels like he's there helping her all the time. I was developing pictures that Rachel had sent me on a disc, and I was in the drugstore in the machine, we were all waiting for our pictures to come, and the lady behind me was curious at my pictures because they were all beadwork and stuff. And so there happened to be a few pictures of Ted and Dr. Tom McLeod in the pictures, and so she's looking and she said, wait, who is this? And she said, this is your mother? And I said, yeah, that's my mother. And she said, these two are still with her. And I said, I looked at her and I was like, what? And so she then introduced herself, and she said she was a clairvoyant. And so I just got the chills. I was like, okay. But, you know, she feels that anyway, but she said that just kind of solidified it for her, that she knew that she still has her friend with her. So that was interesting this spring. Does anyone have any more questions?
Could you tell us about the watch that you made for Ted? Story.
I was checking his time, he had to be here. There. I just decided to be in the watch and just took all the stuff out of it and stuffed it with cotton. Here's a timeless watch. I was looking at the watch and take life a little slower, whatever. So that's
wore?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And he did take time to drive a little slower. The irritation of my parents.
My folks and Ted had a great relationship, and Ted traveled with us extensively throughout the country and camped out everywhere. Ted loved food. My mom knew how to cook Japanese food for her friend, and so she would make a yakisoba over the campfire for Ted.
It was the first trip I took with Ted. We was over Grim Rock, Arizona. And he lived over here. He just moved here from New York or someplace. He was living with Susan Greeby. And so I went to go up to the Iron Ring celebration on the reservation, and he wanted to see what it was all about, so we gave her for him and him. So we had all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. And I had no idea.
Yeah.
We could be putting a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, of course, we arrived after 7 on the plaza, which was a huge mistake. We didn't know. We were swamped. We could, barely got into the booth. It was just a...
People were hobbling in. You ask to see their license.
Yeah.
Before you take their chair.
It was a huge, huge thing. It was very not what we were used to, and it was all very exciting and scary and everything all at once. And that was
There was one guy there who had a brand new 1985 van. He's treated you straight across. You can have something nice to travel in.
Yes.
I think he wanted to trade
Yeah.
my shirt for the van.
So my grandma, she won Best of Show 3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
So we can do a piece. Because we sometimes work on pieces together. We'll collaborate on pieces now. Because it's fun to do. It's fun to work with her. So.
It's great learning opportunities. When we collaborate, we usually pick up just one collaboration a year.
Yeah.
And it's it's great to not only have 3 generations contributing to one piece, but it's always a learning experience from all of us. So it's,
Yeah. Last year we did a doll that was in the Best of Show Running. It was a Nez Perce doll. We had my nephew come stay with us, and he is half Nez Perce. And so we just decided to honor him and do that for him. And it worked out really well. All 3 of us, we worked on it, and it was pretty fancy. This year is the first year that we don't have a doll. It didn't get done. We did the war shirt instead, so. Yeah.
any more questions?
The war shirt is a collaboration?
Well, it's my mom's piece. But I helped.
She helped.
So, yeah, it's just, we're very, very blessed people to be able to do this every day and continue to do it. And by coming to Indian Market and being able to sell our pieces sustains us, and, we're able to make more, and it helps our culture to live on. I'm very, very fortunate.
Feel better.
Yes.
Any more questions? We're all set?
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I want to mention too, before we end, Thursday, the Growing Thunders will be back here for an open house, so you can have an informal conversation with them if you're interested, from 10 to 4:30. So tell your friends, so those who couldn't make it
And
today.
your booth number is number?
Oh,
419.
419, okay. And I want to thank you all so very much. This is really wonderful for me, personally, and thank you all for coming, and please help yourself to some sweets or cheese outside, and stay around to look around if you want. So, thank you.